stand and say the pledge of allegiance and be followed in prayer by Alderman Betts. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Father in heaven, we are grateful for the day that you have given each of us to live. We pray, Lord, that we have lived it according to your will for each of our lives. Thank you, Lord, for bringing us to this place tonight. And I pray, Lord, that as we conduct the business of this city, may we make right decisions. May we do what's best for our town. Thank you, Lord, for the opportunity to serve our town. And I pray, Lord, that you help us never take that for granted. For we pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Okay, we'll have roll call.
Brandon Doré, present.
Ron McCoy, present.
That's present.
Robert Gardner here. I'm the president here.
Okay, we've got a full house on the Alderman. Our first item is going to be looking at approval of our minutes from our previous meeting. Those are in front of you. If anybody has a question, you can ask that now. If not, have a motion to approve the minutes from the previous meeting. Motion made by Mr. McCoy, second by Mr. Probst. All in favor? Okay. Moving on. At this point, we're going to defer to Ms. Moak. She's going to give us our review of the financial statement for May.
I've provided two summary statements today for the public's review, and one of them is showing the actual fund with actual numbers for the different funds and comparing it to the budgeted totals. And that statement's on the short sheet, and it shows that the total of all the funds, actual revenues received, is $33,185,000. And the total expenditures for all of the funds is $29,584. So the net change in position for the month year-to-date through May 31st is $3,006,000. Our budgeted totals, we're showing $36 million of revenue and $34 million of expenditures for a net change of 1.4. So we have exceeded at this point in time, our budgeted totals, but that is going to change because we have one more month left to go. So that will possibly bring us back down to our expected budgeted totals. The other spreadsheet that I provided shows each fund budgeted to actual, so you can tell the variance for each fund compared to the budgeted totals, and just as additional information. So anyway, that's how we fared through May 31st, so we've got one more month to go. But I did want to make a point that we did receive the engagement letter from Silas Simmons and for the 2016-17 fiscal year, and so they, were wanting us to approve that engagement letter, or if there's anything that needs to be said about it. We paid in the past $49,975 in 2016 for the audit, and in 2015 it was $52,800. And they would begin the audit beginning in September, and it would end in December.
Okay, what we have to do, this was one thing that we got late. We got the engagement from Silas Simmons, and I didn't have time we were going to violate our 24 hours. So what I'd like to do is ask the aldermen at this time if they would make a motion for us to add this as an agenda item to accept the engagement letter from Silas Simmons, if I could. Motion made by Mr. Betts.
Second.
Second by Ms. Doré. All in favor? Okay, that's now an agenda item. If we would please add that. That is the engagement letter with Silas Simmons. They do our audit of our books each year, and this is just an engagement letter, basically hiring them, and that's what we're doing at this point. They're doing a very good job. They really have hands-on with us, and they'll be in office probably in September. The end-of-year process went real good, from what I understand, with our books and closing out our books. But this is just to engage them. So I need a motion to accept.
I make the motion to accept it.
Motion made by Mr. Best, second by Mr. Garvey. All in favor? Okay. All right, any questions on the finances for May for Ms. Mo? Okay. On number 2, we have an item, as y'all know, we've knocked around back and forth for several months, the sale of the property that the town owns on Eleanor Street and John Dale Drive. It's been a process, but there's been a lot of advertising and things you're doing, dealing with real estate that we've had to do, and I'm gonna let Mr. Murray tell a little bit about the procedure, and I will as well, about why we had to go through the down the path we went. But anyway, just for information for everyone, the town will hold a public auction on Monday, July 17th at 12 o'clock, Vidalia City Hall, located here, for the following properties: a house and lot on 2074 Eleanor Street. Minimum bid is $35,000. Vacant lot on 102 John Dale Drive. Minimum bid $3,000. Properties will be sold as is condition, and the bidders must provide a letter of credit from a financial institution at time of auction. And the city has a right to reject any and all bids. So this will be publicized, will be publicized again. But if there's any questions on that, if anybody has any questions this time, we'll be glad to entertain that. Okay, all right, just for information. Okay, let me set the table on item number 3. This is dealing with the D.A. Big Lane Road issue. As many people know, that back in 1997, the town acquired property and easements from different landowners out on what's now known as D.A. Big Lane Road. Some of those people were the Roundtree family. It was also dealt with a Westbrook family on acquiring right-of-way through there and easements, and Glen Green and Natchez. But there were several people that easements were bought where the town, with a CEA, cooperative endeavor agreement with the state, put a road from 131 to Airport Road. That's been a constant issue with a lot of people, especially those that live out there. And the big question is who owned the road? Well, the town, if you go in from 131 and you go down D.A. Big Lane Road, when you hit the canal, the city of Vidalia owns the property to the west of there, or south. That is city of Vidalia property. Of course, that road continues on and goes and hits Moose Lodge Road, which there's other residents there, not on city utilities, but there are residents that have homes there. There's another road off there that is, it shoots off of that is a gravel road, but this road is in bad need of repair. And last meeting, several residents that live out there showed up, and I told them I will try to get a reading on this and come to some kind of conclusion or direction on what we're going to do. We made the decision at that point, based on some of the stuff that I'm going to share with you now, to go ahead and maintain that road with putting gravel in the holes and everything else to keep it up until we can come up with a permanent solution. I know there's been a lot of motion with this with some of you, and and I understand that. I know that it's been promised to be fixed for several times, and nothing's been done. However, in researching, and again, I'm bringing this to light tonight because whatever we do is going to involve a decision on what to do with the road and to what degree we're going to do with it. I have Mr. Captain with Brian Hannett's office here tonight who will give us some different options on a complete fix, a medium fix, a low fix, and also what to do with the road in the meantime, what to do with it. The bridge that is there is actually the city of Vidalia and the police juries. That was done together, and I have that information as well. But what it says in the agreement that dates back, and this is, and I'm not going to insult y'all's intelligence. If anybody wants to copy this, I'll be glad to give it to them. But this is with the state and DOT, that ownership of the property is talking about the road that goes through there. The town agrees that it owns or will acquire the property upon which the project is to be located, and that it shall not, while any of the bonds remain outstanding, transfer, convey, sell, or assign its ownership rights in the land which constitute the project, which is that project constituted the road from 131 all the way to Airport Road. That's on Article 3, the ownership of the property. Article 16 of that same contract, which was project completion. Upon completion and final acceptance of the project, town shall record the final acceptance with clerk of court for the parish in which the improvement is located and furnish a certified copy of said final acceptance to the DOT. Town shall maintain the project as completed at its expense and in accordance with the town's maintenance policies. That's in this document here. Now, have we read what this says? You know, there was a question whether or not the police jury had any ownership or responsibility on that, you know, the ditches beside it and so forth. Well, that's what we're here to debate tonight and to see what levels of repair we can do. Now, I think first I'd like for Mr. Capadon to tell us a little bit about that project, when it was built, and what it might take to fix, you know, different levels of repair.
I really wasn't prepared for an absolute repair, but here's what I do know. It was substantially complete in '98. So it's next month it'll be 19 years old, I guess. It's been around a while. A couple of previous administration, we put together a couple of estimates. None of them we would really, we really want to, I guess, hang our hat on, but this would be something that would get you by. You can patch and level, just deep patch and level the bad areas. We figured about 100 grand to do that. Patch and level and then overlay it about twice that, about 200 grand. And of course you can always reclaim it, go back to gravel, which, you know, for $50,000, $60,000 you could probably do that. I don't have an estimate to repair it completely. I really need to look at the borings and see how that, you know, see what it would really take. I wasn't prepared for that. I didn't need that tonight. I can get that for you and it wouldn't take very long. But
We're starting the dialogue tonight on what to do.
Okay.
We've got, I feel like, responsibility. Now, if it's the council's wishes tonight, if they want to get a ruling on this, you know, I'm bringing it up because regardless of what we do, it's going to require some expense, and they are in charge of okaying or approving expense and what level we do.
Sure.
So, I mean, I certainly think we ought to discuss it. I'd like to hear from both sides, those that live out there, and also the residents of Vidalia. I mean, you know, because there's been a lot of people bring up things, why not just, you know, barricade the bridge and just, you know, do something with it, just keep one end. There's a lot of options out there that are, you know, need to be discussed, and rightfully so, because depending on where you sit, it's going to depend on your emotion in the problem or in the issue. And I'd just love to hear from anybody, from the public first, and then we'll defer to the council to get their ideas on it. Does anybody like to make a comment, or?
I would. I live out there on West McCarver. I've been out there for 9 years. My question is, why has the road been not maintained since 1998 when it was put out there? If it was Apple Street or any street in town, it would be fixed. And if this belongs to the city, I see a lot of people shaking their head when he announced the price. That's my road, and I have to drive my vehicles down. It's just as important to me as anybody in this room. It's the only way I got to get there. The front end of my truck's worn out right now because of that road. So why is it not the city's responsibility? I'm not asking you, I'm asking the people that were shaking their heads.
And like I said, there's going to be a motion on both sides, because here's what, and I appreciate your comments. And I'm being objective here. I'm sitting and looking, and I'm going like, well, as a resident of the day, they're looking at somebody who doesn't pay their taxes to the city or have city utilities, we're fixing your road for you, that's going to be there. So,
And I understand that, but that piece of paper said it belongs to the city.
I agree. I'm just telling you, I mean, so I know there's going to be some feelings either side of the issue.
Everything I buy in this town goes here. That's where I buy all my groceries. That's where I do everything.
That's a good point.
I'll second that opinion too. You know, there's a lot of wear and tear for us on our vehicles. You know, I seen y'all had a post the other day about buying a new vehicle for the city.
Mhm.
Y'all don't like driving a messed up vehicle, neither do we.
Mhm.
And, you know, I ain't trying to be a pain in the butt. I bought a $2,000 set of tires the other day. Granted, I could have bought a $600 pair, but I choose to pay for a $2,000 pair because I want something good. You can go look at my truck tires right now. They're horrible. I seen a man come down the road the other day that broke his trailer on his boat. You know, this is just adding up and adding up. We pay our taxes just like y'all do sitting right there. And I pay a lot of taxes. I'd like to get it fixed.
Any other comments?
8 years ago, roundabout, they patched the road, and it's done absolutely nothing. They cut sections out and went over it, and it's just caving off. I mean, that is not a solution to fixing it.
Well, all of us know that even back years ago when I was in banking, that area out there, the ground is very unstable. You go look at the driveways, all the homes that were built, put out there.
It was never built to spec, that's.
I'm not gonna argue that point. Any other questions before we, okay?
There was a lot of discussion at the time it was built about was it up to specifications. And I don't, as I remember, a lot of people talked about it wasn't built up to specifications, and it just kind of went by the wayside. Why wasn't anything ever addressed at that time? Whoever the surveyor, or whoever the road people were, the core samples weren't done properly. The depth of the road wasn't up to specification, but at the time, nothing was done. And then, of course, as time went on, it deteriorated, and now here we are. Can we go back and look at, do a little research and find out what the people that were supposed to regulate the road, and I assume it's this young man's company. You follow me?
I follow you. Of course, I wasn't.
Well, I know that, but we need to go back and look, and the core samples weren't proper that time, but nobody did anything about it, just kind of went away until it deteriorated, and here we are.
I will say this, regardless of what we come to tonight, I do want to get with the state and the federal, since our National Guard is out there, and that could be a truck route. I'm going to try to enlist and talk with some of our leaders to see if we can get help with that. I think that would be a good step for us to go. And here's, now I'm giving my opinion, okay? Then I'm going to open it up to the council to discuss. This is my opinion. I think we should research and talk with those people and see if we can get any help to fix that road, to make that a good thoroughway all the way from 131 all the way to Airport Road, completely make it a project to make that and widen it. It's our airport. It's also our National Guard is out there. It's going to be a part of an industrial park that I hope that we can maybe get some help to maybe fix it right all the way through and make it to where it's actually a truck route, where if it is the National Guard, whoever's coming in and out of there, that they can have a good road to run on. Now that's my solution I would like for us to consider. Now it's a solution that's going to take a little time, but you know that. And in the meantime, we're trying to do the best we can to keep this stuff from being torn. Now that's my personal opinion. Again, I'd love to hear the council's thoughts on it, but I'm giving you mine, and I'm just being objective for both sides to do and get what funding we can before we go and encumber a town for the full amount of it. Because there's a lot more people travel on it. There's a lot of agriculture that comes through there. Y'all know that. A lot of agriculture. So I'm going in with some ammunition to tell these people, look, this is just not some residents of this. But this is something that can be important for our town because a lot of people cut through there. Y'all know they do. And so that's my thoughts. And is there any other comment before we, as the council discussed? So
I'd like to say one more thing, Buzz, that in our meeting, in the last meeting, I'm not aiming this at you, we were told that if road belongs to the city, we will make it where we can drive on it, and that's what we want as a community.
I did say that. And I did go, I've been down 2 or 3 times the last few days just to get an update on it. It's, I mean, I agree.
Hey, the rocks, they help, but that's not.
I understand. I understand. But we appreciate it. It's a stretch through there that is bad. I would just ask you to slow down, I mean, so you don't worry until that happens, you know, just, you can't race on it.
You have to.
But I mean, I'm just saying that to you. But I think that, anyway. All right.
I have a couple questions, of course. Is the other end of it as torn up as their end of it?
No, it's not. There are some issues though. I mean, there are some spots, but not to the degree that is. Everything that was on that side of the bridge evidently was not, it was either, you know, I've heard different stories. Somebody said somebody put gravel trucks on it, somebody did this, it wasn't built to specs. You can hear everything in the world. I don't know what the truth is. I don't know what the entry is. I wasn't here when it was tore up. I mean, I was here, but I was not sitting where I'm sitting.
Was there a warranty or anything like that attributed to it for the construction of the road? If that part of the road was not built up to the specs, was there a warranty?
If it was, I would think that any kind of thing that warranties were prescribed by now would not be worth anything. And I'll ask council, what would you think that? I mean, 19 years,
Typically, it's 1 year, Buzz.
typically 1 year.
Yes. On all construction, it's 1 year.
So are we trying to go with the same designer and engineer that built it originally for any repairs, relay, or?
That would be a decision that we would have to, after we examine and see what aid is out there for us before we go further with that. We'd have to look into those things.
Well, my position is that we table it to the next time, because I personally haven't been out there to see the road, so I would want to go out there and investigate and see how everything looks this week. So,
Don't take your own car, it's bad. You can bottom out.
I'll take my grandma baby.
Okay. You will bottom out and take her.
Pretty good right now with that rocks in there.
All right, I gotta say, since we've established it's our road, then we're liable for anything. And
Well-
basically, in my opinion, we're liable, so I don't think we can, I mean, if
Well-
there are things tore up out there,
Well, my question would be, do we want to, you know, other than what we read here, do y'all want to maybe get a ruling on it from either our council or, you know, I mean, I've read it, it's pretty simple, I mean, to me. But
I thought you're right.
I thought your recommendation was to see if we could find other funding sources.
that's my recommendation, yes, that's my recommendation, that we will examine that, and until that time, I think I said maintain the road as best we can until we come up with a permanent solution. I would rather see us have a permanent solution to it than to patch it and us have to spend this money every 3 or 4 years.
This is my question too.
Oh, I was going back to the question you asked was it up to specs?
Yeah.
I can't point the finger and say that it was not built up to spec, but what was the road used for?
Yeah.
And that road's been put through a lot, so I can't tell you that whoever built the road did not build it right, because I think they did. It's old, there's been a lot of wear and tear on that road, and it just needs a little bit of maintenance. If you don't maintenance something, it's gonna tear apart. And at the end of the day, you're gonna spend a lot more money on it. We all know that. I can't tell you that it wasn't built up to spec.
Let me make another comment. We know that 100,000-pound bean trucks go across.
Exactly.
We don't let 100,000-pound bean trucks run through the city, do we? That's our road, right? They don't go this road anymore. We'll limit the load limits on those roads. If we
The
do
bridge is
that,
not an 80,000-pound bridge either.
right, so we're letting big stuff go through
So-
there
But-
constantly, and it's going to happen again, so if you fix it or patch it, it's going to come through, they're going to tear
Well,
it again.
the other thing is that becomes an enforcement issue. I don't know
What's
if,
the load limit on
The bridge is a 10-ton load limit bridge, so whatever the bridge is, what the road is a 10-ton load limit. So,
Exactly. I mean, we built lakes in our subdivision. I don't know if you know anything about that, but that's a lot of dirt being hauled.
Of course, if it becomes an enforcement issue, I guess if it's our street, we can enforce on it. You know, I just have something with that. That's just another side. I don't want to get into that. That's not going to solve our problem tonight, what we want to do. But, you know, I've given my opinion. I'd like to hear other opinions from council of what y'all would like to do, or if y'all want to try to do that and see what we have. I'm going from the angle that it is our National Guard out there, it is our airport. It's, even though the police jury says we have, since that is our police, you know, our Concordia Parish Airport, maybe can get them to help. So I promise you, I'm gonna go with every angle to get a quick resolution and fix it right.
Can we give them a time frame?
You can't, no, I can't give you a time frame. All I can tell you, we will start making phone calls. I mean, Keith, is that possible?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
All right, what's the time, what would be a realistic?
Realistic time frame or,
I mean, a realistic time frame to determine, are we gonna be able to get funding? Because I believe y'all have been told we're looking into it for 19 years now. So like, can we get them a time frame on when we will have made a decision so we can take action?
I'm gonna call Washington, they'll tell me tomorrow when they can get it. So.
I want to ask you, you dealt with that in other places. What's the likelihood of getting extra funding, in your opinion, since you, I mean, you know that there's funding coming in from other places?
yeah, yes, sir.
For something like what we're talking about?
It could be months. It could be 6 months or so, pretty before, you know, if you actually get a, yeah, maybe send us an application, then you go through that process, Tommy, and
That's what I'm talking about.
yes, sir,
It's probably a year.
it's a while. It's a while.
And it depends on their funding cycle too, and when
Right.
they actually accept applications.
Excuse me, Heather, speak up.
It also will depend on their funding cycle, so when they accept applications, I mean, most of them don't just have an open application throughout the year. You have to apply at certain times, so, I mean, it's
That's why I
gonna,
say if you're gonna fix it, and we let bean trucks go across it, and anybody else, we'd fix it nothing, because it's gonna tear that sucker
Well,
wide open.
I would be in agreement that if it's fixed right, to put signs up there, fix off, and we have a sheriff's department, police department riding the ticket.
That's what I mean.
Our residents who live out there see it happening. You know, if somebody's running a bean truck there harvesting, they're gonna be on there more than once. You see it? Call. I mean, that's.
It's not only tearing up that, it's tearing up that parish road that's in front of our house also, so
Yeah.
we don't want the big trucks on, unless they've got the farming, we don't want them, we don't want our road.
You see, that can be handled with enforcement, that's not, but, you know, I would tell you this, I would be glad on a monthly basis or every 2 months, be glad to give somebody an update on who I've talked to, where we're at on the process, but in the meantime, maintain it. I don't want to go in and spend $100,000 on something that maybe within 2 or 3 years, we're going to completely fix.
And y'all were saying the rocks help, but it's helped a good bit.
Well, I mean, any hole you got, you put rocks in it, they blow out. You know, they have, I mean, it comes when they're there. We just go slow.
I'd like to, and Lee, I'm gonna let Lee answer this. Lee, is there a better material we can put in there, like reclaim or something, and maybe,
Well, we put reclaim out there before we reclaim some of our roads. We put the white rock out there with the powder. Seems like the white rock with the powder works a little better because it you know, if it gets a little water on it, it will get hard to a certain extent until those big trucks come down through there, or it rains. And then after a lot of heavy rains, we'll send our crew down there to try to, you know, gather them back up to the middle. We spent a ton of money on that road just putting that white rock down there, so.
well, do you think that the reclaim would be a better issue? I mean,
No, the reclaim won't stay in as good as the white rock.
it won't stay in as good.
Well, I don't know. I know that our road runs in the National Guard Army Road. And I don't know if we could work out some deal with the parish. I don't even know if it's still running, but their pothole machine does better than what the rocks. I mean, I don't know. They seal the bottom of the hole, they put the rocks and stuff in it. Maybe that's an option for a temporary. I don't know.
I don't know the process. Lee would have to answer that more than I could as far as, he's saying that the parish got a what's it called?
Pothole machine, have you ever seen one?
Yeah, they have a pothole machine. I don't know if you're talking coming out here. It's a hot patch with pea gravel. Yeah.
I mean, that'd be an option. I'll call and see. I mean,
Something to get it through, you know, get us through to when we could fix it.
I know a guy knows some people on the police bureau.
Ask them, they say the same thing.
They said,
Not my road.
They my road.
That's not my road.
Come on with you.
Okay, let's move, let's make a decision, okay. Are y'all okay with me maybe giving a monthly update and calling?
Sounds great.
Pardon? And we will try to,
And enforce it, start enforcing it now. for the
if
heavy
we get
loads.
signs, if Lee, will you go ahead and take care of that, putting a limit on the limit, and that it will be enforced? And I would ask the residents who live out there, if you see somebody that's traveling on it, out of compliance with it, let us know. We'll send somebody right away. We'll call either the sheriff's department or the city police, and they can come issue a citation.
And Mayor, if y'all, the people that live out there, if y'all will, when y'all hear somebody shooting those signs out there, if y'all will call the.
We have a sheriff that lives there.
Immediately.
But also, I mean, I'm not throwing stones at anybody, but one of our heaviest truck haulers is Three Rivers Farm Supply.
Right.
Great people, I like them, but they haul that road, everything they haul, if it's going between Monterey and here, it hits that road and they weigh more than 20,000 pounds.
Good point.
That's a many pound.
I'll make that phone call tomorrow to them to tell them our situation, that we will start issuing, citations if they're called on. Is that fair enough?
We're great with that. Just gotta start. I mean, that's.
Make a note of that. Okay. All right, anybody else from council have another comment on that? All right, next on our agenda, I have Mr. Jeremy Ewan with Ewan Electric. He has requested to be put on the agenda. He has, back when he had requested for a occupational license for the city of Vidalia, he is an outside electrician. To get that, there are some costs associated with, if you get an occupational license that is from your residential address, there is, you are then charged a commercial rate at your home residence. You also charge a commercial waste fee, which is, instead of the normal, it's up to $50, I think. There are restrictions to the amount of trash you're supposed to have, but I'm going to open it, but he asked him if he'd like to address the council.
Yeah, thank you. I think this ordinance has been in place for quite a while, and being put in place before, advocating internet-based businesses, home-based businesses that only use the home address as mailing purpose and not have any extra waste or use any extra utilities. When I'm out conducting business out in the field, the only people using the utilities at my house is my wife and my kids. My business can't deduct any of the utilities because I do not have a real office in that house. I'd like to see the city maybe move forward and change it.
Okay. Is that it? Any questions from council?
I agree with them. Mr. Yu brought this to my attention immediately following the approval of his business when he realized that he was automatically increased. I absolutely agree. It's a home-based business. He doesn't use it's not a storefront. And I think at last count, there were possibly 10 on the books who were in this same situation.
And you say 10 on the books, but there's more than that.
Well, of course, I mean,
You know they
people
are.
not everyone applies for an occupational license, or perhaps they use a PO box to circumvent.
Right.
According to the Secretary of State, to get my LLC, I had to have a physical address.
Right.
It couldn't be a PO box. And I have a list of about 250 businesses in Vidalia, and there's only about 10 that are in residential neighborhoods. And I don't see the city making too much revenue off of us 10 with that extra 50. And when I asked what the difference was with the $50 rather than, what is it, 28 a month for the trash pickup, they told me I could have 3 trash cans instead of 2. I can go around my neighborhood and, people put whatever they want out in the yard. And city's gonna pick it up. I don't see the difference in it at all.
I think also another thing that comes along with it is when you are charging these residential dwellings, these commercial rates, that sort of gives certain businesses permission to dump their waste on the roadside. They figure they're paying commercial rates. I know I'm getting a lot of people in the neighborhoods who are saying, you know, I've got this business and that business, putting all of their waste right out in their front yard or in vacant lots down the street. I think changing this and charging them the same rate would negate a lot of that. They no longer have that to fall back on. Well, I'm paying a commercial rate, so you should pick up what I put down.
And we're talking about 10.
I didn't verify, I mean, I just got a list of who all was commercial, and I haven't gone through and picked out those that are residential. All I can say is whatever we do for one, we do for the rest of them, not long.
Well, if that's the case, if a brick and mortar company am I gonna have to look at fire marshal coming to make me put exit emergency lights in my house and have handicap accessible doorways and such as that? Can you have one without the other?
I think, there are all kinds of possibilities if you want to do scenarios of what could be or what might be, or that's all conjecture, but where it is now, there's businesses are not allowed in residential areas. You have to come before the board to have an approved business in a residential area. And I had a business in a residential area for a long time. And you have to stipulate that you have an office in your house or computer-based or whatever it might be. You don't have traffic that's anything more than normal residential traffic, and you're not gonna have a sign and those kind of things. And for the most part, I don't know of any that have been denied. And I don't know when the policy was enacted to change the rates. I do know I paid the higher rate for a long time. I had probably one large garbage bag of paper trash a month, more than what my house generated. I knew that was what the policy was, that's what I did. I don't know, can't think, but trying to think of, do you create a scenario where you might have create a bad situation by changing it and how you differentiate it? That's the only issue that I think needs to be considered. Is there something that may happen with people trying to have businesses in a residential area that don't have traffic, don't have signs, but have an inordinate amount of trash? I don't know if that's a possibility or not, but that'd be the only other issue. If you can figure it out by those people you're allowing, by approving that occupational license, that you're saying one can, along with the no sign and the minor amount of traffic that's not noticeable in the area, probably will work all right. That's just what I think.
I mostly took this comparison from other towns, other cities, other states, and it seems really hard to find any other place that does this.
Again, I don't know when it was implemented. It was sometime between when I started my business in 1998 and now. I don't remember exactly when. I don't know if Tron or John can remember, but or why for that matter. If the reason why was a strong reason to do it, that's the only thing I'm concerned about.
My question is, do we tell customers or residents when they make this change at City Hall that this will take effect?
Yes, I believe I was told, and
Yeah, we do.
I agreed with it, and I'm bringing it forth to see if the city wants to change this to benefit the city, not to benefit me.
And I do want to make this point, it's something that was in place, and when Jeremy came and Sabrina brought it up, it was a procedure in place when they requested to get on the agenda for us to discuss. And if it's, only thing I would say, whatever the council, since it does affect money, I'll let them make the decision on how they want to do it. If they want to waive it, then we're going to have to go in and be able to decide who is that, who gets the break, who does not, and so forth. Now, I would just say this, doing business like I do. If he is bidding on electrical contract with somebody in the town, he is being able to bid against somebody who might have the street and paying all the money to support the extra electricity, the electric, the trash, and spent the money to put a business here. He's gonna lose business because, hey, I don't have as much cost in operating as somebody, and I'm just using this as an example. I mean, that's the only thing I can see as far as a competitive thing, that would be a consideration. Not that I'm saying I'm for or against, I'm just saying that would be a consideration for somebody that might jump up and say, to be at the next meeting, say, look, this guy outbidding me on jobs and cutting me out, and I've been here on this front of this highway forever and paying all this. I mean, that's just a standpoint.
The thing is, that brick and mortar business, he can deduct all those costs. But the city's not billing Ewing Electric this commercial rate. They're billing Jeremy Ewing as a resident. That guy that's got the brick and mortar business, he's getting one utility bill for his business and one for his residence. And he's not paying that commercial rate as his residence. With his business, he can deduct all that for income tax purposes. A resident can deduct any of it. That's all the expense.
That's just a conversation.
And I think that needs to be checked because my CPA said I could and I did deduct mine.
You can deduct them in a home.
How do you determine what part of your electric bill?
He decides the percentage.
Whatever percentage your home.
If you have a home office.
He's not using it for his business. His business,
No,
is placed outside the residence.
That's possible, but again, say we got 10 people.
All right, are you ready to make a motion or what to do with it, or?
The business at my office, we collect the occupational license for the town. And it's been my policy. And I'm not gonna tell you I did it 100% because I'd be lying to tell you that I did it 100%. But when someone comes in and makes an application that is a business, wants to get a license that is not in a commercial zone, we do tell them, look, this will affect your utility rates. And we've been doing that for, I don't know how long, I don't remember. But, I understand the reason why we do this. The other thing is we just, as a board, we follow what our things is. We're zone business zone. We have residential zones. We just don't allow home-based businesses. And that stops that. But what do we do with those that are presently under that situation? And I do understand that. But we've always tried to be upfront when it happens. And I know that there are probably some home-based businesses we don't know about. Not everybody's honest.
That's the
And so you run into that too. But that for right now, that was a business decision that he made. And for anybody else that makes that, that's a business decision. And I don't know all the wherefores about taxes and all that. But I think it would be very hard for us to just say, okay, these 10 businesses are.
I think it would give more people.
Even though I understand, it's just a matter of us making a decision now. We don't have any more home-based business that we know about.
Well, here's what I know. With us having a new IT center, we are encouraging people to become more computer savvy, and we just don't know the home-based businesses where people make their living on a laptop, and that's their business, and we don't know about them. So I don't think we can be across the board without having all the information about news. In this progressive world where people are encouraged to be more tech savvy, there's people making plenty of money that don't get out there with jobs.
Maybe we ought to investigate other cities, how they're dealing with internet business and business applications. I'm not trying to table an issue, but we haven't really
Can't make it.
checked into all that. You know, it may involve a whole lot more than just whether somebody pays how much for trash pickup.
And, well, whatever the council decides, everybody knows, that's why we put it on the agenda. Where there is gonna come a part where some of you have to decide what's the difference, because you might have your neighbor, I'm sure some of y'all got a neighbor who might have an occupational license to be mechanic a little bit. And he might have 7 or 8 lawnmowers under his carport, and traffic coming up that you might not dislike. You know, where are we gonna, we're gonna have to have, detailed documentation on what constitutes, when are you gonna have to start, because that could happen.
Those types of businesses are already, all of those things are already clearly defined within our codes. What businesses are allowed and what's not, what you can and cannot do, they're already clearly defined. And so, it already states in the codes, you can't do those types of repairs, shade tree mechanics and things at your residence. Those are clearly defined already. What I think we're talking about here is if you've got somebody like Mr. Ewing, like another one that we approved recently was a mobile tanning salon. They don't have customers coming in, yet they're being charged as if they do. So that's what we're discussing. And I think that, in determining whether or not it should qualify, we have to approve the occupational license, and I believe, we can look at an occupational license and know that an electrician doesn't have people coming into his residence where his family lives.
But he could.
I have people come to my house to sign insurance documents, but it's not on a normal, everyday basis. I bring my laptop home and work after the kids go to bed, but it's not a normal, everyday basis. So, a lot of it is just kind of common sense.
And I agree, because that's what stipulated it was to me. Traffic, very little, if any, traffic, and, what kind of business, is it computer-based, is it, those questions, that's why when I think one time asked about people having to come get occupational license approved by the board, I said, oh, you don't want to stop doing that, because you need to have some ability to maintain the structure that you're trying to create of those situations. How we find out who's doing it that we don't know about, that's another whole other issue, but we need to try to figure that out. But I think if it's in the minutes that they've come, they've done it under these circumstances, that they've said they're not going to have traffic, they're not going to have any extra trash, ask that question if you're going to allow it. You have to add that question to the comments.
Typically, that's the routine, that's what we do.
That's right.
We ask the question, is this a place where you're gonna have frequent customers, or is this
no sign,
all that?
I can imagine there's some sort of enforcement that would go around to actually see if my usage is going up.
I would like to say at this point, Jeremy, that one thing that you did mention that is not right. I went back as far as I could. There is not an ordinance that decided this. There's no ordinance or record that I could find. This was something procedural that was put in, I think. And so it's not, if you had an ordinance, we would have to change an ordinance. So all I'm telling you, if it's the pleasure of the council, I'm up to whatever they want to do, how they want to handle it. So it's not an ordinance you would have to be an amendment to, because I couldn't find an ordinance that addressed that. So it's not one of record. So if they want to fix it tonight, it can be fixed.
And Buzz, I have one more comment and I'll stop it. I think if the board decides to change it, that 10, I know it's been looked at, but we would need to do the research to verify the actual number for sure, instead of, I know you don't have it, but we need to be sure. and would like to have a copy of what you've done, because it's probably, I'm sure it's damn up.
So how, I mean, members of the board, would y'all like to, do y'all want to take action, or do y'all want to table it to the next meeting so that we can get some more information?
Let him share, let him answer.
Jeremy, you said you've already checked with other cities,
Yes.
and you found what?
My brother lives in Lafayette. He has an LLC at his residence for a screen printing company. He doesn't have to pay, any extra. The architect that I work for in New Orleans is home-based. He doesn't pay anything extra. My CPA says that, I have a 900 square foot house. There's really no room for an office. I do have a laundry room with a door leading to the outside, air conditioner, but it is a laundry room, not a dedicated office space. I can't deduct that.
You can basically also, you can follow the utilities as they, they move, they do it always. You can see if the utilities increase, if the trash pickup is heavy, you can find that out. That's pretty simple to follow as far as if it's an increase or not, Like Bill said, I got a dental lab right beside my daughter's business. There's no sign. They generate a bag of trash a week. They pay commercial rate.
It looks like if you're gonna bill for extra garbage trash pickup, you should bill the business that extra part, not the resident.
Right.
Because you're sending the whole bill to the resident, not, the residential bill and then an additional commercial bill. It's all in one bill.
If the state will allow me to do a PO box to have my LLC to not have this, then I would be all about it, but apparently I can't.
I'd just like to ask a question.
Okay,
Well, do you have any supplies? Would that be a storage place and
They're
extra
on-
trucks or anything like that? I mean, electricians have wires and all kinds of,
Everything's in my truck right up there in the parking lot.
We're looking at one specific instance that's not really, he's probably the very low end of possibilities, so, the upper end is still not tremendous if we manage it properly.
Mr. Gardner had a question. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I thought you. Any recommendation, Tom?
My recommendation is we already had something in place that we allow them to know that they have that option. The option that their utilities are gonna be adjusted by them becoming a business in a residential area. I think it should stay like it is. That's my personal opinion. I'm just on one. Because I feel like if we change something for this particular situation, we're gonna have to change it for some other people or other businesses as well.
No, that's what we're talking about, is changing
Yeah.
all of it, not just making an exception for Mr. Ewing.
I'm not looking to benefit myself. I would like to see the city benefit from it, and I'd like to see the city research it and find out what other cities do and how it benefits them.
That's what Robert was saying, do some research.
I hear a motion, we table this until we do investigation of it, and you're okay for 30 more days? Till we,
That's fine.
okay, I hear that motion. Well, do we council, we don't have to make a motion to table this, do we? No. All right. Okay, that's.
We'll get an answer next.
We'll certainly call some other municipalities, some our size, and like to set up and find out. Okay, number 5, we have occupational license. We have a change of ownership in the McDonald's restaurant, and they've made an application, M Enterprises LLC from Vicksburg, Melanie and Michael Roach. Okay, good.
Yes, I'm Melanie. So thank you for having me on your agenda. I'm glad I made the call and was put on the agenda for today because I understand it would go into August before you meet again, and we're trying to make a transaction on August 1st. So it was a God thing yesterday, I know. So I appreciate that, and yes, I do already own 6 McDonald's restaurants in Vicksburg and Jackson. And Mr. Small, Gary Small, is retiring. and approached me to take on his 4 restaurants, the 1 in Louisiana and 3 in Mississippi. So my son Jeremy is here with me, and he's part of the family business and helping us along with this process. So yes, we're looking forward to being back in Louisiana. We're from New Orleans, my husband and I. We've been in Vicksburg for 17 years, and just going through the process over the past few days. I remember Louisiana because I worked for McDonald's for 20 years before I came on the other side. So it's like, oh, I remember that,
Well,
yes.
congratulations. We hope you have a wonderful experience with the day. We help you in any way. Thank you for
Thank you, appreciate it.
making the investment. Thank you.
Okay.
Motion made, second, by Mr. Gardner, but rather than, because some people come up, right at the last minute, like I think, and want to get something approved, and rather than having to wait 30 days, we can go ahead and have it in there, look at all the occupational license, rather than hold somebody at 30 days. That's my intent. If nobody has a problem with that, I'd like to, in the future, listed as approval of any occupational license or sign. And then, here a motion on sign. Motion by Mr. Crowe, second by Mr. Betts, all in favor? Okay. All right. Everybody knows that last month we talked about community code implementation, and this is the pre-file of the ordinance of us enacting this new code for the town. And this is, council, do we need to?
Actually, we found out from Community Codes after we did the resolution that an ordinance was required, so that's why it's being done now.
Make a motion, we accept it.
Okay, motion made by Mr. Dorey, second by Mr. Gardner, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, I have discussion of employee handbook. I brought it up last time. I hope all the parties had time to review that. I'm hoping to move this toward adoption for our next meeting. I said that last time, and I haven't been able to do it because we didn't have the meetings, since we were dealing with budget items, that we wasn't able to get in that in detail, but I would like to schedule meetings with the alderman here within the next 30 days to have this, look for approval for a new employee handbook, which brings our employee handbook up to speed with the 21st century. Last one was 1992, very general. So, any questions from the council? I'll be notifying you of when we have the meeting. Just be looking to make anything.
So you're not wanting us to discuss the handbook here?
Well, I feel like we could rather discuss the whole handbook, maybe it would be better to do it in a small committee and then bring it to a vote for the next council meeting. Are y'all okay with that, everybody? Okay, number 9, we have Mr. Raymond Riley with us to describe the summer program at Vidalia Junior High School. This is a program that's been in existence, I think, for several years, and I'm going to turn it over to him.
Thank you, Mayor. Crowe, Garner. Mayor. Beth. McCoy. And back in 1991, my wife had a bad car accident, which took the life of my 8-year-old nephew named Wayne Allen. The next year after that, I started a summer basketball program, which went 3 years. And in that third year, attendance kind of went down. So I asked Mayor Copeland after that, could I create a summer recreation league in the evening time? Because unbeknownst why Mr. Charles Matthews stopped allowing kids to come into the recreational program in the morning time once they graduated high school. So therefore, I feel like our tax money was going down the drain because we never stopped paying taxes, but our kids couldn't go into the gym in the recreational program in the daytime. And those of us that was raised up in Vidalia, we know that Coach Fairclough had a recreation program at Vidalia High School. Ms. Brown had one at Vidalia Up Elementary, and Ms. Donna from Natchez, she ran one downtown in Vidalia Junior High for years. I don't know how many years that. But then after Ms. Donna retired, Mr. Matthews took over for several years and went that way, and then all of a sudden he stopped allowing the older kids to come into the program. So in that 4th year, Mayor Copeland told me, sure, I got in touch with Mayor Copeland, Chief Hammer at the time, and Sheriff Randy Maxwell. They all supported it. Mr. Tucson there, he did security for us for several summers. And what it is, this program is designed to keep the kids off the streets during the summer months at night. It runs from 5:30 to 9:30 Mondays and Thursdays. It runs a budget of a little over $4,000 for the total for June and July. It employs 4 people, myself and 3 other people, and the mayor at that time told me in order for the city to be responsible that, I have to be employees, so the city have liability insurance in case anything happens. 26 years, nothing has never happened. Never happened. And all of a sudden, there's been different, aldermen, different people, and I've been doing this thing for 22 years totally for the program itself. And, and I understand when different people take office, people don't understand, but, I'm here to explain to anybody here on this board that this program has been a success, that there has been a decrease, like I say, Mr. Tucson has been a police officer, and he's now is marshal. There's been a decrease in extracurricular activity, if you know what I mean, during the summer months, the kids come in there. I don't have an age limit, young nor old. I allow, if you look at your thing, I don't care how old they are, what color they are, what religion they are, what gender they are. If they come in, they be respectful. You can't wear any drug paraphernalia clothes. You can't wear your sagging pants down. You can't curse. You can't fight. I mean, you can, but you're going to go home for the summer. You can't come back in. I completely control this program. Therefore, my rules are already there in place that I have for the program. And I've been doing it for 22 years. Successful, had never had a problem. And I just wanted to bring that to you all. And the reason I wanted to bring it to you all because a few aldermen had questions about it. I don't know anything about it, but now you know what it's about, what it's for. And I would not like to have to come back before the board again because I've been running this every year. Been doing it successfully for 22 years.
One comment I would like to make at this point, we did go back and research, and since it is an expenditure that the town does pay, there needs to be an agreement.
Right.
And we need to know who that agreement's with, the entity, and how it's going to be, handled. And that's my only thing, and I'm glad that we're having this conversation. It's up to the council, since it is an expenditure, and how to do it. We need to come up with an agreement. I think you're about through with this. How much more are you at for this year?
Just the rest. We only do it the beginning of June and July, all of June and July. Yeah. So just like another 3 weeks, and it's over.
But I think if anything the town does, we would have to have an agreement put in place. And I'll open it up to the council for any comments or questions at this point.
The total cost is $4,000.
It's a little over 4,000. I think like 41.72, something like that in the neighborhood. And that is around in there.
You said the sheriff's department and other people were involved?
Well, they supported it, by letter they supported it, but the mayor of the city of Vidalia funded. It's the police at that time, again, I asked them not to send security and stay in the place. Because I don't want the kids and the parents that bring kids there, and I don't want them to think it's an unsafe place. But there have been several policemen, they would pull their police cars up to the back of the gym and sit there a while, and they'll leave, come back a little while later. I kind of like the way Mr. Tucson used to do. He used to just have his police t-shirt on, and he would come in there, play ping pong, sit down and socialize, play dominoes, with his kids, because that's what it's for. It's a safe environment for kids of all ages to come in and have somewhere to be. We're a small community, and if we tell our kids we don't have anywhere for them to go during the summer months, especially kids that come home from school, from college, what signal are we sending out to them? All of them can't get jobs. All of them don't play baseball. Some of them are too old to play baseball. You can ask Mr. Shirley, he's a junior high principal. He's been there for years. A bunch of kids from First Baptist Church, they come in there every now and then on Wednesday night after church, or just some other days through the week. But just a bunch of people come and enjoy a nice, safe, recreational environment.
Me personally, I don't have a problem with the program. I can say that I'm probably a prodigy of this program because as a kid, I did participate and I did attend. I think it's a great thing that we should keep for the city to keep our kids safe and off the streets. I do have just a couple concerns, and because I know how you feel about kids. I know as my pastor, Pastor Riley, love kids to death. But the 4 employees, my personal opinion on this project is that I think college students, I think we should mix it up and give them the opportunity as well, kids within the community, to work and let that 2 months be their a little summer job for them as well. That's just my thought. You can run the program like you want, but my personal opinion is I think kids within the community should have an application status to apply to be able to work for 2 months as well. We should mix it up and not keep it, the same faces.
Well, the reason I mix it up some and I don't mix it up because I let kids, all of these people coming in here are not kids. You got people coming in here 25 through 30, 34, 35. So I need an adult mentality in there for these kids because you got people that age that may not respect kids. Now, I take the money that you pay me and I give it to one of the kids for the summer and let them just earn that money through me. I mean, I'm telling you this personally, you don't know that, but I do. I cash a check and give it to somebody that I let come in there and work because I know they need money during the summertime. It's not to me about the money, it's about the program. But it's still, it has to be done, this way.
I would like to just, one thing that I would like to check out, Mr. Riley, is number one is can the town legally do that? Because I've had, you wouldn't believe the requests from softball teams and things that, want town funds. And basically, we reached out to, different ones, and, and you really have to be careful because, for example, they told me to point out, it's not sponsoring a girls softball team, that's gratuitous, you can't do that as a town. It's got to be something economically that is a benefit to the town to do something like that. As far as sponsorship, it might bring something. The only thing I will say, I think it's a wonderful program, and I promise you, I want to see it continue. However, I just think we need to investigate the legality of it, and if that's fine, I have whatever the council wants to do as far as continuing on. But
I have just one comment. This is not in any way a knock on the program. I don't know anything about the program, but from a management standpoint of the city, we're basically employing 4 people to run a program for several hours each night during the week. We need to have some breakdown of what those 4 people are doing to earn that money in it, so we can be sure that we feel 4 people are necessary.
They're overseeing the program and cleaning up after the program is over with.
So all 4 do the same thing.
Yes.
Which includes mopping the floor, cleaning the bathrooms, and all the way from the gym to the front of the home to where the children disperse. Right there.
Are we responsible if somebody gets hurt, or is it the school board? I mean, is it at the gym?
It's the city. It's a liability. That's why I was employed there, because the city had a liability. They would, assume what's called a blanket liability. It's just like a league that if you got a Dixie Youth baseball league, you got a blanket liability coverage. That means every kid that plays in that league is covered by a liability. And the same way with that. So like I say, and that could happen. I appreciate all y'all questions, but again, in 26 years, nobody's never got hurt.
But also, Mr. Riley, our insurance company didn't know it existed, so that's part of the reason.
I understand.
Okay.
Right. I understand. That's why I say, I mean, any questions you got, don't wait till I leave here and ask somebody that don't know.
That's why.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Just ask me anything that you want to ask, because I want you to approve it. I want it to keep going.
I have a question.
Right. I understand. Yeah.
I have a question. Why can't the school board pay for this?
Because
I used to work on the program when I was in high school, so why couldn't the school board pay for it instead of the city?
If you worked on that program, the school board didn't pay for it, the recreation department paid for it.
So they don't have a program like that anymore?
They don't pay for the one at night, they pay for the one during the daytime. But in the daytime, you may have 10 kids at night, I have 75 to 100 sometimes.
That's why you need more people.
That's why I need more people.
You have my full support.
Yeah,
So
that's the difference.
I feel like we just need to make an agreement, like you said, but we need to, from a legal standpoint, just make sure all our T's are crossed and all our I's are dotted. But my opinion is we need to come up with some agreement to allow this program to continue.
And what you said, Bill, about the employees, we need to determine, I guess, in that agreement, who they work for.
What I'll do is I'll reach out and I'll reach out to two different sources to get a ruling on it and try to come up with the best way for it to continue. And again, I think everybody's in support of it. Pastor Riley, it's just, we want to make sure that we want to do it right the first time. You won't have to do this. Anyway, so from what I understand, I will investigate that, come up with a ruling on it. And we'll be sharing that with you and then bring it back to council. Okay?
So in the time being, it continues for the rest of this summer.
Oh, yeah. I mean, y'all agree with that continue?
I say go ahead and finish the summer, but next year we ought to have something.
Right.
Yeah.
Since it just came up.
Well, that's fine. All right, let's go to number 10. Riverside Baptist Church had come to us about a request for us to maybe either sell or donate to them the property behind their church. It's basically scrub brush and it's not much property, but I'm going to ask council to go ahead and let us know what his findings were. He's researched that and he's got information for us this evening for that.
Okay. Mr. Mayor, I checked on that, and the basic law on this is in the Constitution. It's in Article 7, Section 14, and it specifically states that except as otherwise provided, property and things of value of a political subdivision shall not be loaned, pledged, or donated to or for any person, association, or corporation, public or private. Period. That's what it says. And the shall in there means it's mandatory. Then they've got authorized uses. Of course, the legislature and the Constitution, they always have to have exceptions. And there's about 8 of those. And I went through those, and none of those would apply to a donation to a church.
So your recommendation is just like we did with the
Well, my opinion is you can't do it. Can't donate.
You can appraise it and sell it.
Okay, as far as what to do, I think that it goes under the articles which allow the town to sell excess property or unused property. So once you would make a declaration that property, and identify it where it is no longer needed for public use, then you could sell it to the church and you could get an appraisal, which appraisal I think could include the cost. The agreement with the church would include the cost of the appraisal and the preparation of any documents to transfer title to the land. And then if they paid that plus the appraised value, you could sell it to them.
You wouldn't have to open that up for.
I don't think you have to competitively bid everything.
What if we leased it to them for $1?
No,
You can't do that.
no. That's just a sham. You can't do it that way.
I mean,
It's called a RV car.
No, see, because everything's got to be in reasonable value.
I wouldn't entertain leasing the property. I entertain, since it is that we can declare it as being surplus, we can put it, we can sell it to them. We just have to have it appraised. We have to give notice that we're doing that. Part of my problem with the lease is that they want to build a church building on it. And they're going to be building it on property they don't own. Well,
99 year lease.
there again, I have problems with that too, so that's the reason why I'm saying I prefer for us not to enter into any kind of lease program, but to start the procedure to sell them the property.
You can't designate who that, because how do you designate? Because there's a lot of people out there that jumped up and down for some property we've given away for 99 years for $1.
I mean, it's going on in the city right now, and one of the questions that I have is why was this not researched before it was originally brought to the board? And before we gave this church the hope that we were gonna donate this to them? Why was this research not
Randy,
done?
no, that's not true. I told the pastor exactly where we were. I didn't give them a false hope. I told them if we could, we would. I didn't give them any false hope. So we won't, we've discussed that. I've discussed it with the pastor on a monthly basis through text messages. I got it on phone so I could read. I mean, we were researching what we could do, and I told him that we would do what we could, and that's what we're doing. That's why we're going through this process. We want to do it legal. So, but it has been discussed. It's not been giving anybody false hope.
And quick too, man. We want to do it legal and quick because something that's been nothing for a bunch of years to us now has a value to it that
I personally don't think anybody would bid on it, but I mean, that's why I'm asking the council if we can find out if you can pick who you're going to,
He just said, that's what I asked him. He said you don't have to bid.
No, I'm talking about as far as sale.
I thought you said you did.
Did you say you did or didn't have to bid it?
I don't think you have to bid it. I don't think you have to bid every sale.
Yeah, that's what I asked you a minute ago.
If it appears that bidding something would be beneficial to the town, then you
That
might want
probably
to think
more
about
valuable
bidding.
to them than anybody that's probably good.
Well, of course. So, I mean, so your opinion is in your opinion, council, how should we handle this going forward, and we'll make it happen?
Expediently.
It seems like
Go.
contact the church, get an agreement whereby they agree that they'll pay the appraised value. You know, they don't have to. If it's too high for them, they can always say no. But they would pay the appraised value plus the cost of the appraisal and cost of transfer of title. And once you had them agreeing to do that, get the appraisal, take it to them, you know, with the understanding they knew that if they didn't like the appraisal, then they're gonna pay for the appraisal and, you know, anyway. Because otherwise you get caught in donating the cost of the appraisal to the church.
Do we need to make any kind of motion to go ahead and have that declared? You know, it's something that the town doesn't need, and what our plans, I mean, do we need to do that?
Sure, if you'd like to do that tonight, you can, you know, pass a resolution to declare it to be excess and surplus property and to authorize the mayor to proceed with the appraisal and sale.
I'll make that motion that we do what he just said.
Motion made by Mr. Carter. Do we have a second? Second by Mr. McCoy. All in favor? Okay. All right.
Now, I hope I can remember what I said.
We're recording. We're on the tape.
Okay, next on our agenda is an adoption of a resolution to establish a new bank account for a city marshal. That's been a request by the city marshal. There are funds that when through city court, there's funds that are set aside for the city marshal's office for operational issues that he's able to get each time that they settle something in court. And he's requested that separate bank account. It is legal. It is something that will be monitored by our accountant and also other people within the city hall, that it will be just like the city court is. You know, it's got to be accounted for, and the funds have got to be established with that. I just need an adoption of a resolution to establish that bank account for the city marshal.
the court has no way of doing that, Judge?
Doing what?
Managing those funds.
The court doesn't need to manage it.
I was talking.
The city marshal manages his own funds.
Okay.
In here also the court?
No.
Pardon?
In the city marshal also the court?
The city marshal, though, is being an officer of the court like the city prosecutor and other people, but he's also an elected official,
Okay.
which puts him in a different category.
Okay, but it does, I mean, you're familiar with that, where he can't, I mean, those funds that are established by statute, where he gets, he can put those into an account that's set aside for him, is that correct?
As far as I know, you know.
Where's the existing account?
Well, right now, it's all within
The existing account for the city marshal is in a sub-account at city court. Because the prior city marshal didn't want to mess with it, so.
What kind of fees does he collect? I mean, what would be just an example of what?
Well, it would depend on what he's doing. You got some fees for odds and ends.
Yes, sir, that would be fine thing. The type of fees that would be in that account would be any violation that the criminal that goes to city court, I get a fee off of that, which I have. I didn't know if any of y'all got copies. I'm gonna make you copies of all the Title 13s, which state the powers, what the city marshal can do, what he's subject to. It's all stated here in Title 13. But I'll make a copy of that. But yes, he gets $30 for each citation that's written. It goes to court.
So before, it was just being transferred into the sub?
Yes, ma'am.
Everything?
Yes. It was being transferred into another account.
How much money is in the account now?
I have no clue.
Don't look at me, I'm not
That's
the
my
judge.
problem. That's my problem. I have no clue.
Well, it's commingled with other city court funds right now. I mean,
But
she,
how could we, if it was supposed to be in a sub-account, how come it's not in a sub-account, in a separate?
well,
It's not with the city, it's with the court, they send us.
I mean, that's what I'm saying, somebody ought to, I mean, those fees should be separate.
Dot knows those fees.
Huh?
Dot, Faircloth, she
We-
keeps up with the fees. And
Okay.
But there is, for example, just for item number 1, for making service or attempted service and return a citation with or without petition on each defendant, city marshal, that account is $10. For making service or attempted service or supplemental or amended petition with or without accompanying citation, another $10. It just, there's,
It's different things he does.
it's different things, and it's just, I mean, the request is, and it is, it's a state statute.
That fund doesn't come to me, it goes to the office. That's for office supply, vehicles, uniform, it's for those things. I can't use it for front.
Right.
Our salary, it can't be for salary, just for operational expense.
But there are some funds that you collect that do
Yeah,
go to your
anything
salary.
civil.
Right. So would those funds be put into this account and then taken out for you? Those just go straight to
It
you?
comes straight to me.
Okay. Has the question been settled regarding whether he can hold his position in the city and serve as a city marshal?
We talked about that today, and there's a fine line we have to watch about that because of city employee and whether there's confidentiality, I don't, but we have gotten a response to that and the mayor's wrote a letter to the Attorney General for Attorney General's opinion so that we get an absolute, don't have to worry about, we know we got the final answer on it. That's where it is as of today. We have not gotten a response at this point from the Attorney General. But we felt like, because we didn't, our first answer was that there, in strictest sense, a person who holds a work position with the city cannot also be an elected official. Vice, however you want to look at it, vice versa. Elected official can't hold a job. We don't know about the part-time part of the city marshal's duty, whether that affects it or not. So in respect of him in both his positions, we felt like for the Attorney General to answer that is a proper procedure, so the mayor wrote a letter.
And we got several varying opinions on it, and we felt like it's best to go ahead and just get it direct for the day's instance. For example, there was also, the city marshal is not an employee of the city of the day, okay? The city of the day, which is a political subdivision, there's a lot of wording, some gray area in there, and whatever the Attorney General ruling is, that's what we'll follow. I mean, we sent a letter to them and for ruling on that, and so, but there was,
And the mayor had a meeting with Frank right away, once we did our initial research, which has been, I reported Tron, 2 weeks ago, Tron, something like that? I mean, had a meeting with him immediately to let him know the situation, so he was appraised of it, and so if he wanted to make plans for whatever he's gonna do, if it comes down, if that's absolute, he can make that decision.
My question, several of these aldermen sat on the board back when Mr. Bourne was city marshal. Why have we had a conflict with this position? Why was it never addressed then? wasn't something that you felt you needed to address? It seems to me when Frank Newsom get elected, some people have a problem.
The question that I have an answer to that, I wasn't on the board, but I would like to answer your question. The question that I have is that there seems to be an expansion of the city marshal's position since you were hired. And that's what I have question and concern with, is that the role seems to be rapidly expanding since
Do you know what a city
your
marshal
election.
can do?
I do, yes, I've studied it.
Okay, well, you might need to visit several of the city marshals of the same municipality and see what they do.
Yeah.
Because it's broad, it's not as tiny as you're trying to keep it in a bubble.
Yeah. I make the recommendation, or actually make the motion, that we table this until a decision has been made by the AG.
Regardless, I mean, the count, whoever, whatever it's gonna be, it still needs to be funded.
Oh, you mean until we know what Frank's gonna do? If that's what you're really
That has
saying?
nothing to do with I'm asking for the resolution, you
We're
asked
looking
that
at
question.
funds.
Yeah.
You want to take the fund part of it?
No,
The funds that are being dispersed, is that what you're saying?
I think she wants to table the whole discussion.
Whole discussion? That's what I was wondering, which part of it you wanted to table?
Item 11.
The whole deal?
So we table the whole.
So what you're saying-
What does the accounting have to do with any other aspect of what I do?
I think that,
We're not open for public discussion.
You open for whatever I said, man.
It's a board. It's a board.
that's, what is, I mean, what we should do is establish the account, in my opinion. If that's another issue, which y'all want to table.
I make a motion, we adopt a resolution to set.
There's a motion on the floor.
Sabrina's already got.
Sabrina already has a motion.
Sabrina already has a motion.
You do, you
To
make
table it, but,
Everybody else said it, I won't.
but the thing is, what you're wanting to table is the whole thing, and my question is, either way, the funds being separated, I think that needs to happen. I mean, they don't even know what's in the account. No matter who gets it, I think it needs to be a separate account. You know, and it won't really matter who's the city marshal or he resigns
be
or
me.
keeps the city
I'm gonna be the
position or
city
not.
marshal.
Motion's on the floor, is there a second to the motion? Motion
Which motion?
or to table it?
I second that.
Okay, second motion, all in favor?
What, who seconded, Mr. Mayor?
Mr. McCoy, all in favor of tabling the motion on the resolution for the establishment of the new bank account? All in favor? All against? Okay. That motion failed. Do I hear a
I make a
motion?
motion, we adopt the resolution.
I second that motion.
Second by,
For just the bank account.
for just the bank account.
Just the bank.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, let's move on to number 12. Oh, you know, last month we approved the budget, and in that, the police department, the police department, let me have you teach me.
Little order, please, in here.
The police department had in there, and it was approved for a 36-month lease, which included the purchase of vehicles that they could get with the amount that was their previous lease, which was around $81,000 a year. Okay. They came back and they want to request that to extend that lease to a 48-month lease that would allow them to purchase more vehicles. And I wanted them to represent themselves tonight and make that request to extend that lease to another year, which it does, since it does involve the finance, because it's taking on more money to basically present that tonight to the council to extend that to it's not going to hurt your annual budget, but it is expending money by extending that lease and getting more vehicles, which will be more expensive as far as insurance and so forth that comes along with that. So who with the police department wants to take that? Okay.
What do you want to know?
main difference, he wants to know the difference in the
I met with
cost.
Joey earlier today and me along with him as well. And pretty much he's not gonna be asking for any additional vehicles. It's still gonna be the same 9 vehicles that we met on. He's just asking, according to what he said today in my meeting, he said he just wanted to extend the amount of months on payment.
It's gonna
From
be
3
1
years
year
to,
difference with $7,000 more interest.
yes.
1 year added to the payment.
Can I say something? In our meetings with all the department heads, I disagree with you, and I think John was the one I'm talking about. What was presented was the same amount of money for the same amount of years for as many vehicles as that would pay for.
Right.
So what they're asking for is an extension, more money for another year and more vehicles.
That would be correct.
And we explained during that time that the cars that were bought before were bought without any bar lights, any partitions. They were just, nothing was in them, no equipment in them. All these cars are fully equipped with the exception of a radio and antenna.
That's what he's explaining to me also today. They had to come back and spend about $60,000 more once they purchased the vehicles.
And that was presented originally in the meeting as well.
So, and he also said the interest from the 3 years to the 4 years will drop from the 4 years 5.2 to 5.25. So I'm just relating what Joy asked me to bring forth as well, for the additional 4 years instead of 3.
I think that went up.
5.25.
It went from 5.25 to 5.2. So 5.
We're just discussing it, or do we need to take action?
Well, the thing is, it's changed, even though you're not changing I think the annual, I didn't feel like it was, without bringing it to the council back for approval, to extend it because you're spending an additional, if you add another year of payments, you're expending money. And I think that's something y'all have to decide whether or not you want to leave the lease like it was or go ahead and increase it to the 48 month, which is going to be an increase of, I guess, around $50,000 or $60,000.
$7,000.
$7,000.
The money's the same.
Do I now?
The money's the same.
The 3-year lease that we approved was
$81,000.
$81,000 a year. Is that right?
And if we go 4 years, it's 77,
What's
292.
77 times 4?
It's,
And then multiply
286
81 times 3. There's a difference. 50 or 60,000.
That's not that much.
How much? Is it 47 times 47?
The total amount financed for the 3 years would be $286,991.48. Total amount financed for 4 years would be the same. The difference in the annual payment for the 3 years, annual payment of $100,598. For the 4 years, the annual payment would be $77,292. So that times 4 gives you the total of what you would actually pay on the 4 year. The $100,598.26 times 3 tells you what you would actually pay if on the 3 years. So there is a substantial difference in the price by stretching it out for 4 years. But that, what we have to decide is, do we want them to?
Do you want to do the 3 year or do you want to do the 4
3
year?
year?
Because you are encumbering more money. You can't obligate the town for more money without getting permission to. And that's the reason why I'm bringing that up, to get approval for it. Does anybody got a question?
Yeah, are these for patrol cars or?
I'll let.
Six are for patrol and 3 are for investigation.
Are they replacing the patrol cars or are we adding?
It's replacing the old cars, the old Crown Victorias that we have out there.
So we have those up patrolling the Crown Vics?
Yeah.
Are they marked?
Yeah.
The biggest thing they say with those old Crown Vics that I talked with Joey about was the seats are worn out, right? They're totally worn. I mean, it's all worn out. Them seats are rough to sit in for 12-hour shift.
I did the math, he was actually correct. The difference in the total payments is $7,374.26.
That's what he told me as well. I didn't hear
from 36 months, I mean, you said 36 months.
One more year.
Was 81,000 for 3 years. And how much was the payment for 4?
77 something.
That's more than $7,000.
26 times 3 payments is a total of 301,794.
3 times 81.
77,29226 times 4, 309,164. Which is a difference of $7,971.26.
You're getting the difference between the payments a year. I'm talking about the total encumbered to the town. And 81,000 is what we approved for 36 months.
With interest.
Well, I'm not gonna just, 71,000 times 3 is 213,000. What was the payment for 48 months?
For 48 months, payment $77,292.
77,292 times 4 is 309,000. That's a difference of, let me do that
This
one
is what
more
I'm
time.
looking at.
70 what thousand?
Is that
The
included?
number of payments, if you pay it for 3 years, the annual payment is $100,598.
Is there money in the budget for that?
Do what now?
Is there money in the budget for that?
Yes.
There is for the 3 year, we approved the 3 year.
It was approved, my point is, it was approved for 3 years, and the payments were supposed to be $81,000. 81,000
But that's.
times 3 years totals 243,000.
But you're going based on what's approved on the budget. Look at the quote sheet.
You're still, they're asking for 4 payments that are going to be, the town's obligated to pay 4 payments of what,
77.
$77,292.
77,292?
But see, Sabrina, they were supposed to spend
48.
only 81,000 a month with interest and get as many cars as they could for that. So anything on the quote, that's what they would have to get for that.
With,
Y'all said you're trying to make a 4-year lease instead of a 3-year. And the payment ain't, the only difference in the payment is between 81,000 down to 77,000. It's gonna be about $56,000 more you're encumbering the town that you're obligated to pay, is all I'm saying. And if you're obligating the town, it's my duty to bring it up and get y'all to change it. If they want it and y'all wanna approve it, the 4-year, let's do it, but it is costing the town more. The original lease for 3 years is not gonna buy as many vehicles as the 4-year lease. That's gonna be a little less money a year, about $4,000 or $5,000 a year. But the overall cost, over what we approved for the budget, is around $50-something thousand. I mean, is that hard to understand? I mean, does anybody not get that? I mean, who does not get that? Huh? Do what now? I mean, but I'm just bringing it up for them. Hey, look, I'm in support. But if the council's for it, I'm for it. We just got to approve because it's required us to approve.
Personally, I'd like to see it stay with the original thing. I understand. Bill said it's stated correctly. I'd like to see it stay with the 3-year, do as many, and it may not get as many cars, but we're still within what we approved originally.
The difference exactly is $308,000 to $243,000. That's your difference. You're encumbering the town for additional, whatever the difference between $243,000 and $380,000 is. And that's all I'm saying. I have no problem with the police getting the vehicles. If that's what the council wants to do, I felt like it was incumbent on me. If y'all found out, that we were obligated for another year of $77,000 instead of it being paid off, we got more vehicles. But it's been paid off in 3 payments instead of 4. The 3-year payment was $81,000 The 4-year payment is $77,000 for 4 years. You can make that payment 4 times. The other one we approved was the 81 for 3 times.
Now, just to clarify, I believe that the amount that we were determining was the difference in what this 3-year payment for the vehicles he is requesting versus the 4 years for the vehicles he was requesting. Those where my figures were coming from.
No.
I'm just telling you, that's where my figures were coming from. No other statement is necessary.
Well, it is necessary, because y'all saying it's only $7,000 difference. It's not. You're coming to town for
Who
nothing.
requested to extend the lease?
Do what now?
Joey.
Who, Joey? Well, maybe y'all need to go back to him and say, look, this is really what the.
He had got to look at too.
I mean, he may not want to.
The other vehicle, what we were trying to do was stay at the same yearly rate that we had
Right,
vehicle
but
bought.
Joe was saying it was $7,000, where now it's 50-something thousand, so maybe Joey don't want to do that, so maybe we need to go back to him.
Well, the thing is that, the other cars that were bought had no equipment. All that
I
equipment.
understand that part, but y'all are under the assumption, I'm assuming, that it's only gonna be $7,000 more, but now it's $50,000 more. So that equipment is
It was
what you're talking about.
$7,000 more than interest.
Dennis, I need to state this because I don't think you were in the meeting, but it was stated to us, the new cars will have equipment. We're gonna keep the lease with equipment.
Yeah,
Keep the lease the same and get as many cars as we can get for 81, the same amount of money for 3 years. That's how the budget said. That's the way it was presented. Okay, I just want to be upfront.
Okay. Okay, all right.
I make a motion that we accept the police department's new request for vehicles, from 3 years to 4 years.
Okay, motion's made by Mr. McCoy to accept the lease as it is, second by Mr. Pro. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Let the record reflect Mr. Betts is opposed. Okay. Each year we select and appoint, different. We appoint different, aldermen over different departments as far as being a liaison, so to speak, and learn and talk to those departments and talk with them. This year, I was going to call out who those different ones that we're doing. Again, also, as the mayor pro temp, Mr. Probst has been the mayor pro temp for this year, and it's up to the board, how they want to do it, where they want to, who they want to select, they want to leave Mr. Probst in. That's their prerogative, but I think for now, if it's the time they want to leave it like it is, they can make that decision. But I want the record to reflect the utility department's going to have Ms. Dorey, the street and sanitation department's going to have Mr. McCoy, the police department will be by Mr. Gardner, the fire department will be by Mr. John Betts, City Hall will be Mr. Probst, the recreation department will be Mr. McCoy, the IT department will be Ms. Dorey, the convention center will be Mr. Probst, the mechanic and carpenter group will be Mr. Gardner, and the economic development area will be Mr. Betts. Now, I'm gonna leave it open to.
Make a motion that we accept, our current mayor pro temp for another year.
Okay, motion made by Mr. McCoy for Mr. Probst to remain as the mayor pro temp. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Dorey. All in favor? Okay. After that, do I hear a motion we adjourn? All in favor?